Hi everyone, it's the first week of August and I figured I'd give you guys a little update where we're at with the garden, the property, the house build and whatnot. We've recently, or just this week, done quite a bit of landscaping here around the property, so I'll give you guys a little update on that. For any of you guys out there who have done a garden, first year gardens are very hard. Unless you're buying, manure and a whole bunch of things, bringing in a whole bunch of things from outside that have the right bacteria and whatnot, you're going to struggle with your garden the first year or two. And I'm no exception to that. I was away working for a little bit here, and so my wife's been watering the garden. She's been, weeding it and checking on it and whatnot, but still when I came back the garden was very pitiful looking. It still is. It's not going to be a record garden, but what I've been doing is I've been doing a few things to try to save it, and I give you guys some tips here. So first year gardeners, these are things that you can do to help your garden. So I've been working on those stones. I think I showed in one of my last videos. So these are all stones that I dug out of the garden when I did the beds here, and I've been expanding it, and I plan to have all these paths that you see with the cardboard, they'll all eventually be filled with these stones. And so these are awesome, and the ticks don't like the stones. They get real hot in the summer, so it's a great way to tick-proof your garden. So yeah, so I'm kind of up to here. I got this giant rock here. I mean, just gotta show you my foot here. So you're probably wondering how I did that. Well, I got see the two tire tracks here. So I brought the tractor up here, and I had the stone on the end of the forks, and I just kind of angled it this way, and it's actually stuck straight up, and I was so afraid to crush my potatoes, but it just kind of, and then I flipped it over, moved it in place, and so that's the stone work. And it's very easy to do, guys. You just take cardboard, stick the stones on it. The cardboard will actually stay pretty dry, and in between you can still see the cardboard there in between. And what I'm hoping is that'll be my weed suppressant. And it'll take a little while for that cardboard to deteriorate because it's uncovered. So all the areas between the rocks, the cardboard will probably stay like that for years. And of course, under the rocks, worms and stuff will get in there and eat it. But I'm not worried about weeds growing under the rock. I'm worried about weeds growing in between the spaces. So when I got here, when I got back, the garden, like the onions were really turning yellow, and you can see they're not doing all that great. But what I've been doing is I've been using homemade compost tea, and believe me when I say they were very yellow. Now they're turning green again. And what's happening is first few years of wood chips, they take a little while to decompose. So if you don't have enough nitrogen in the wood chips, they'll take longer to decompose. But a lot of people have talked about this, and you need to use fresh greens mixed in with your wood chips with it, which I did do. However, I didn't compost them because when we had them in piles, they got really, really hot. And my wife was afraid that they would get that hot and potentially catch on fire. So, and I was a little concerned about it because we weren't on the land at the time to monitor it. So we spread them, and that kind of didn't help things out here. You can see my cucumbers over here that are in the wood chips. The bottom leaves here are yellow. So yellow leaves usually means that you're either getting too much water or there's a lack of nitrogen. And the top leaves are turning more green here. So I did two things here. I did some chop and drop, and this is sweet fern. So I got this all over my property, and this is the sweet fern here. So all I do is I just pick the sweet fern right off the stalks here like this. So very quickly I can pick quite a bit of sweet fern, and then I just took the leaves and did the old chop and drop. Just put it around the base. Okay, so what that does is it gives you some ground cover, and then the sun doesn't dry the ground. So I've got wood chips for ground cover, but this will decompose faster. So I've done two things there. So did that and the compost tea, and I'll take you over to show you my compost tea. So what I've been doing is kitchen scraps have been coming in here into this composter. I got it just jacked up at a little bit of an angle here, and you can see I put this bucket underneath. I dug a little hole, put a bucket underneath. You see the compost tea dripping ever slowly in here. And okay, warning, this is going to be disgusting. So decomposing. And what I'll do is I'll just dump this into this watering can, and I'll fill this jug up with some fresh water, put it in here, rotate it a little bit, mix it up, and then it'll start dripping again. So every day I make a watering can or 2 or 3 of compost tea, and I go and slap it in the garden. Of course, the potatoes here are not having a hard time at all, because what's in the bottom of this was 2 months worth of decomposing kitchen scraps. So, but the rest of the garden isn't doing all that great. This is supposed to be squash, and they should be a little bit further along than that, but I'm happy that they're still living, and they're starting to perk up a little bit since I did this chop and drop here. I got lots of peas everywhere. What I did is I just stuck peas and beans in all these beds here, just to get them going for the first year, because they're pretty easy to grow. They'll grow in just about anything. My leeks were dying, my onions over here were dying till I did the compost tea. Now you see they're starting to green up really nice. The beets, they just shot up inches since I did the compost tea, so they were a lot lower than that. And these guys really love the compost tea, the zucchini and the cucumbers. So I got my first cucumbers here. I know it's nothing to write home to mom about, but you know, they're doing better than they were since I did again the compost tea and chop and drop. There I used some fern. They're kind of a pioneer species that come in after a fire, and don't mind potassium, and drop it on the surface with their leaves every year. So it's a great thing to add to your soil as a chop and drop thing. And I got lots of ferns around. Tomatoes are doing good. We haven't had time to support them or anything this year. I have plans for some fancy supports that I'll put on one year. Another thing that was looking pretty homely were these asparagus, and the boys, the chop and drop and the compost tea. So these are first year asparagus from seed. Give you an idea what they'll look like if you plant them from seed the first year. But see, this one just came up. So I put a lot of ferns, because they are a fern, right? So I figured, hey, I'll give you some of your species for food. And I put a lot of compost tea in here. We redid the driveway and all around the house. We put these pebbles, beach stones, I guess. And then I'm not showing the house because that's the big reveal. Future big reveal. There's Tigger the tractor. And I did a nice little driveway here into my wood shelter. This is a Shelter Logic seasoning shed. And then did a nice little pathway around the house here. And in the back I got two nice little areas here where I can make decks. So we've already got this one set up. I got my Traeger grill here. Put a little carpet there and some chairs. So the future plan is to come out here with some cement slabs and then have a little on-ground deck here. This is a little thing I did with rocks from the garden. So these are two rocks that I picked up from the property and put a little bit of crushed stone, so it gives me a couple steps here to get up to, you know, my view area. You can see the lake here. Gorgeous area. It's my little trail to get down to the garden. Right back to where I started the tour. There you go. Oh, one of the things I might do here is take this tree here. It's a maple tree. I might bend it over like this and then just tie a big rock on the end here, so that my pole beans will just climb on this thing like that. And pick my pole beans here right from this path. On this side I'm going to be putting one more bed just on this side here, and then just over here in this area one more bed with a little path of stones here, and then there'll be a fence, deer fence all around the garden. Deer fence all around the garden. Over here is going to be all apple trees. So got the first cherry tree here, but there'll be trees. And then there'll be a few things in here. I'm not sure what I'm going to put here yet, but there's going to be something. I think I'm going to get some daylilies. Plant a lot of daylilies in this area here. Just different color, different types of daylilies. I like the look of them, and they're edible, so they're yummy. And yeah, so I have a little bit of digging to do back here where the rocks are, so I'll be doing some of that. The landscaper was able to use some of my rocks to backfill behind the house, so that was good. I know it's not much to look at, but this is all you can expect from a first year garden, guys. Don't just manage your expectations. It's always a great way to make sure that you don't get too disappointed. There is something going really good in this garden. Yum. These are awesome. So we planted these. These are first year blueberry trees. And they're awesome. There's a Patriot. Chippewa.